Wild Health is about optimizing you. We use genomics, blood work, biometrics, microbiome assessment, many other tests, and a conversation with you to come up with a full health optimization plan. What's the perfect diet, exercise, and supplement plan for you and only you? The Wild Health podcast is about optimizing all of us. Here we cover the cutting-edge science that gives you the base to be able to apply the personalized plan we give you as a patient. To sign up as a patient, go to wildhealth.com. Or if you're a physician or health coach and you want to learn how to do this for your patients, we're happy to help as well. Wildhealth.com for all the information on becoming a patient or working with us.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wild Health Podcast. Today you've got with you Jeff Graham. I will be hosting what I think is going to be a really interesting topic today with a guest who knows a lot about something that he has experienced with or experimented with himself and had a lot of success, and has now founded a business to help others have success as well. And that guest is Clifford Stephan. Clifford, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks so much for having me. Stoked to be here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. We're going to cover a topic that we talk about a lot with our patients at Wild Health, a topic that I feel like is probably under-recognized as a major metric for improving our health, optimizing our lives on both the physical and the spiritual, emotional, mental side. So you okay if I give a little quick intro, and you can definitely correct me along the way if anything doesn't sound accurate?
Please.
Yeah. So Clifford Stephan, he is the founder of One Compensation, a Bay Area consulting firm that supported huge Silicon Valley giants like Google, LinkedIn, Kaiser Permanente, and Motorola in retaining their top talent. He later, however, launched Booze Vacation after taking a transformative year off of alcohol in his 40s and realized the profound impact it had on his own health and his professional potential. What began as a personal experiment for Clifford then grew into a business, helping others discover the life-changing habits of taking a break from booze. Clifford has become a viral TikTok creator, sharing insights on alcohol, health, and success, with millions now engaging with his content. Booze Vacation has been featured in the San Francisco Standard, San Francisco Post, and other popular podcasts like Harder Than Life and Man Alive. I'm going to describe what I know about Booze Vacation. Correct me with anything here, Clifford, but it's targeting men of success and maximizing their health and performance by getting smarter with their drinking and improving their healthy habits. Did I get it all there?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, other than my consulting business that I had for 20 years, I've shuttered that, and I'm all in on Booze Vacation over the last 6-8 months. So other than that, yeah, you got it pretty spot on. And yeah, that typically is kind of guys in their 30s through their 50s and on up type of thing. But yeah, there's a sweet spot where you can engage, where you can prevent disease versus it could precipitate into more chronic disease states. So that's where we like to play, and before stuff hits the fan.
Love it. I love it. And you were just telling me before we got going here, from most of your time's been spent in California in the Bay Area, but where are you talking to us now from?
Yeah, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and still have an office in California. Get out there quite a bit to see my family, friends, and surfboard. But yeah, I grew up in the Bay Area for 45 years. Silicon Valley.
You like to surf?
Yep. Yeah, I got some waves in about a week and a half ago. It's been big swells in Santa Cruz. It's been awesome.
Nice. Yeah, you're probably having withdrawals in Louisville. Not a whole lot of that there, huh?
Nope.
Yeah.
Tennis,
swimming. Tennis and swimming. Yeah, it's going to be, no, there's nothing like standing up on a surfboard for the first time. I still remember that. It's just absolutely amazing feeling that power underneath you. Yeah, man. Well, we're going to have a fun time today. We're really going to dive into some of the stuff, the consequences that we see alcohol can have on us long-term, psychological, physiologic. And then some of the benefits that I hope you can elucidate for us on taking a break from alcohol. And one thing that I think I'd like to kind of start out talking about, because I noticed that you had actually referenced this in some prior communication that I talk to my patients about a lot, is the amount of weight loss you can achieve through just cutting out the extra calories and some of the metabolic disadvantageous effects that alcohol has in our system. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's a really big one. I think guys, guys get a little bit older, the metabolism slows down. They still have the same playbook they're using oftentimes since high school or college when it comes to, socializing and regular alcohol use and lots of events. And yeah, a little bit less time to work out. And I think there's just a lack of awareness on how it's regular alcohol use, even at very socially acceptable levels, is really going to erode these key systems of health. And you kind of have this exponential kind of output on the other end, but kind of some crappy sleep, kind of some suboptimal, scheduling, a lot more processed food. There's a lot of excess calories in alcohol. You have fatty liver, visceral fat, all this stuff. But, and yeah, it makes you more sedentary. It erodes your discipline. It erodes your testosterone. So that makes it harder to support your lean body mass. So yeah, your metabolic and cardiovascular health really take a hit. And it's so habitual. It's so ingrained in our society. It's kind of an operating and reward system. And when you have success, you're supposed to, enjoy it. And I think guys get a little confused on what's the best way to do that. And, ultimately, kind of one of the big confusing parts is what got you to your levels of success, is it what's going to help you keep it and enjoy it and keep gratitude and kind of help spin all those plates. And you really have to kind of pivot and update the operating system. It sounds pretty basic, but not a lot of dudes get the memo. They keep using the same playbook. Hey, at least I got plenty of money in my pocket. I can kind of paper over this with my checkbook. But when it comes to prevention of disease, when it comes to your quality of life, when it comes to, just your stress, your outlook, everything across the board. And weight's a big one because, it creates a lot of inflammation. It creates a lot of leaky gut. It creates a lot of cancer risks, a lot of cardiovascular issues. So, the other obvious thing is when you're regularly drinking and you're kind of playing dumb with your alcohol use, it does force you to kind of play dumb with your health, right? Because it doesn't lead to good things. You're getting some sketchy blood work back from the doc. He's talking about pills. You're kind of like, la, 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 I don't want to hear this. And what's my blood pressure? I think it's fine. Oh, I sleep okay. It's all this kind of subjective stuff. And so yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah. That's a great, I love that term, tricky. I think it's subtle how it sneaks into our life and begins to affect it on levels we may not even be aware of. I love that this kind of platform you're already talking from about this idea, we're a society that is kind of taught to work hard and play hard. And I imagine a lot of the clients you work with are in a successful, if you looked at it from the outside, they're, look like they're hitting all the metrics for success, right? Maybe they're financially independent or very well off and don't have to worry about a lot of stuff in that part of their life. And maybe their mindset is that, just like you said, hey, I deserve this. It's time to take a break, and alcohol can enhance that. What do you think about that messaging behind that in our society as a whole? Just get really deep on this real quick. Tell me what's wrong with that.
Well, again, it's complex, right? Because it does kind of work, and most guys that have success can, thank it for their liquid confidence a little bit, mentorships, networking, and myself included. But yeah, it's super pervasive. Like any show you watch, the world's most beautiful people are, hawking their brands and 10 billion ad spend, and it works really well until it doesn't. And then, like I said, I think there's just a lack of awareness in all these key systems of health. And, you talk about a businessman and return on investment, it's just constantly keeping you, why are you regularly consuming a carcinogenic depressant? Because it's created a bunch of lowered states that you're not really comfortable with. You're not as productive. You don't look and feel as good. You're dragging ass. You're eating a lot of processed junk. And you kind of want to change the channel, and alcohol is great at doing so. Often, again, you kind of have a rough work week and you want to blow off some steam with your buddies, and it's at events, it's at 1-year-old kid birthday parties, you name it, it's everywhere. And so it's very habitual in, dudes are, monkey see, monkey do. and there's not a lot of monkeys out there that are, have figured this out. And so we're trying to get some more monkeys out there to, turn the lights on a little bit, because it's a perfect crime, when it comes to ultimately, once you figure it out, you can still have a beer here and there, you just kind of reset the program. And, if you don't, unfortunately, I'm sure you see this all the time, but yeah, the shit can really hit the fan in your as early as your 40s into your 50s. And even if you're not getting that chronic disease diagnosis, the reality is most dudes are stuck at about 50 to 60% of their capacity. They're just regularly dysregulating so many different key systems of health.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad part is, yeah, I'm sure you work with them, but yeah, they're kind of watching what they eat. They're working out. They're trying to meditate. They're doing all this stuff. And what I found through my own personal journey, because I had my own business, I had plenty of cash. I had a degree in nutritional science. Played water polo, soccer, tennis. Like I did it all. And I threw so much time, money, and resources at this problem. And the older I got, the more I had to throw. And I still got sketchy blood work. I got a sleep apnea diagnosis, all this sketchy stuff. And, surprise, surprise, when you're actively dysregulating these key systems of health, you have age and wear and tear. I don't care what type of healthy habits, how many kale salads you have, you're pissing up wind with your physiology, and you're going down a predictive path that you didn't sign up for. It's not going to be much fun. And when you get this in the right, all that stuff actually works great. It's just out of sequence, and you have to put down the alcohol for, unfortunately, not cutting back, not a month, but yeah, most dudes are probably more looking at 6 to 12 months when it comes to getting their brain back online, and re-regulating these key systems of health that are a little tricky, a little sticky, as you know, your metabolic health, your sleep.
Yeah.
You're dealing with your autonomic nervous system. You're dealing with your respiration. You're dealing with, a frazzled brain, a stressed autonomic nervous system. There's a lot cooking. And if you don't figure it out, you stay in these lowered states and you get right back to the booze. And so whatever, it's socially acceptable. It's just not going to be a lot of fun. And it's not going to be, it's not going to be the brightest of future we were shooting for.
Yeah. 100%. I was, man, you're gonna play well here. You're speaking well to our Wild Health crew. I think we don't pull punches, and to call it a carcinogenic neurotoxin or neurodepressant right off the bat, I mean, you nailed it on the head, because that actually is what it is. I was going to wait and dance around that for a little bit, but thanks for calling that out. Tell me a little bit about...
we don't like to use this like harsh, oh, it's poison, it's whatever, it's shit. It's like, it's like, come on. It's like, we get it. Like we are all kind of coming from that same spot. But at the end of the day, it's like, why is it so strongly and it's like, why are we associating this with, friends and a reward and this way to relax? And it's like, we really want testosterone. We really want to look and feel good. We really want to sleep good. We really want to have, great sex. And it's like, okay, well, that's really tough with regular alcohol use. And so you kind of have to, at some point, kind of have that adult conversation with yourself, as much as we hate to do so.
Yeah, 100%. And I would say, as a practitioner who focuses a lot on longevity and health span, this is one of the easiest steps that I try and talk to my patients about making, right? It's potentially the worst thing that you can continually put in your body for longevity and a healthy aging process. So I agree with everything you're saying, man. It sounds like you guys are basing this program on good science. So I do want to talk to you about that. You call this as booze vacation. Take us through the process of what you guys do when you have someone come to you, the modalities you use to work with them for taking a vacation from booze.
Yeah. And again, this is a passion project I've been working on for the last 4 or 5 years. It's a really kind of complex marketing issue, how to get guys' brain around this. And so we have a nonprofit that's kind of the beer commercial without the bullshit. And so we're trying to just get the education and awareness, because there's probably about 10% of the dudes out there that would just hear it and they would just sack up and do it, and they would figure it out and get fantastic results. And we get kind of enough people out there. And then obviously we have to make money at the business. So we're really, and you kind of hit on this earlier, but these poor 1%ers that have the best families and beautiful wives and great businesses and everything on paper. And then, but you look at them, they're dragging ass. They have a CPAP machine. They have belly fat. They're kind of, they're not present with their family. They're getting hip replacements, like all this crazy nonsense. And so, we really want to kind of level set, and we'll do some self-assessments, but I was stoked to talk with Wild Health because we're definitely looking for partners because, we want to start, once the light bulb comes on, like, hey, I'm going to get my health right. Like, let's see where you're started from, let's get, let's get you an Aura ring. Let's see what your heart rate variability is. But, it kind of depends on, how exclusive, our offer is, and how premium it is. But we want to get it in the nitty gritty and really impact, these biomarkers. The science is out there. It's kind of like if you're aging fast, you're kind of a sucker in this day and age. There's so much information out there. There's so many, people are jumping over dollars to pick up pennies all the time with all these gimmicks. But the reality is this is pretty straightforward stuff. So we really, obviously we kind of have to get them past the first, getting their brain around the hurt feelings of, putting it down and how they're going to navigate their social life and all that. And then it's really kind of focused around re-regulating these key systems of health that alcohol is so great at dysregulating. So it really kind of illuminates a pretty common path. And we know kind of how guys roll and how they're conducting themselves in business and outside of business. But it's fixing their sleep. It's fixing their diet. It's cutting out some snacking. It's getting them in the gym to build some weight, make sure they have enough protein. But ultimately, as we get more and more traction, it's going to be piping in tons of services like you guys and supplements and tech, when it comes to sleep, to really just accelerate gains and momentum as quickly as possible. Because again, I think that's why a lot of people get stuck. A lot of guys cut back. They do dry January, and they're pretty disappointed with the results because they don't even realize what game they're playing. They still have no clue how dysregulated their health is, and so they have these really high expectations. And so, they just need kind of a guy that's been there, done that, and gone through it. And then collectively, as we get the community built up, we get other epiphanies and other experiences because I have my kind of background and how I rolled with it, and other people have other backgrounds, but at the end of the day, it's very effective and very quick and no side effects. But it definitely takes a village of a lot of great people like yourself that are getting some basic things right, and then we can pack on some other bells and buzzers when it comes to other longevity processes and tech. But it's really giving guys a long enough runway. It's addressing their immediate needs and concerns when it comes to how they're just going to get through the next 4 to 6 weeks on their social and business calendar, and get them pumped on it, get the momentum going, and it's really kind of turning off this negative flywheel that's been going for so long, kind of unconsciously, and slowing that down until you can kind of get the positive flywheel going with these habits, and then helping them to see these subtle benefits. Cause like I said, the body is very, kind of just, it re-regulates pretty quickly. And so, you get used to looking and feeling pretty good, and you forget that you've been feeling like crap for decades. And so, kind of just helping them kind of illuminate their gains. And weight's obviously an easy one, skin, sleep, but some of this stuff, when you've been dysregulating it actively for a long time, that it can get kind of sticky to get them unstuck. So we really want to get guys rocking and rolling as quickly as possible.
So I was looking at your website. What do you guys use, like behavioral health experts to meet with people regularly and work with them on this?
Are you talking about addiction or other issues? Or what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking almost like an advocate, or accountability. Like, do you have accountability partners? Tell me a little bit about how, you're coaching these people through this, like you say, setting up hey, how am I going to function for the next 4 to 6 weeks? What does that look like in this program?
So again, we don't serve as alcoholics. We don't serve as problem drinkers. So it's kind of, some guys are like, hey, I just had, 6 shots of vodka because I'm stressed. I have to get, I'm like, okay, sorry. That's, not it's above our pay grade, but we kind of just need to find, our sweet spot. And then it's, sometimes, guys, let's dial it back a little bit. So when we, plan your trip. But, the reality is I just think it's such a foreign concept, and guys just think it's such a dumb idea that they can't even get their brain around doing it. So there's a lot of comfort and I think, kind of insights when you're just talking with the dude that kind of gets it, and other guys that have done it. So yeah, it's really kind of just acclimating them to getting their brain around it and getting a good game plan. And then ultimately, again, I think the difference between our dog food and anybody else's is we only play our game on offense. So we're not making lame excuses. We're not constantly on our heels. We're not kind of moping around watching the clock with these short breaks. Like, our shit is long. It's a long play. We have goals set that we're aiming for. There's goals that we want to avoid at all costs, like erectile dysfunction or cardiac events or any of this other nonsense. And it's about proactively leveraging all that extra time, money, and energy to really start chipping away with relatively simple, healthy habits around your diet, your fitness, your sleep, and your brain, and ultimately kind of updating that operating system around kind of more activities and results, less so like fun and just kind of numbing out at a game or whatever, wherever there's alcohol and your buddies.
Yeah. I love that. I love that term, playing offense, because I do think that's a really effective way to, I'm assuming by that you mean have planned goals, have things you're going after while you're kind of doing this, because it is, as you say, you take alcohol out of the equation. It's amazing how much more attainable some of those things are. That's been my own personal experience. And I'd love to hear from you. You mentioned how you started this as a passion project. What's your origin story? You said you had this really transformative year. Tell us about what you noticed during your first year and what really got you convinced this is a way to live.
Yeah. So played water polo soccer in high school. We just had we did shit that you could never do in today's age with cell phones, but borrowing golf carts without asking and
100%.
Just, senior trips to Hawaii and just, peak experiences during these formative years. Went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, got a degree in nutritional science, surfed my brains out, more wild parties and great times. And it really just kind of crystallized this operating system of alcohol as fun friends, events, and a reward for a job well done. So I'm having success. Guess what? Went to corporate America. They drank there too. And, just skyrocketed up the corporate ladder with my social skills and talked my way into jobs way bigger than I could comprehend before I kind of pivoted and started my own consulting firm and landed some really killer clients. But, it was just something that served me super well socially and in my business. And I knew it wasn't the healthiest thing, but, I figured I could kind of outsmart it with my degree in nutritional science and my, my pocketbook and my physical fitness levels, and kind of, pissed up win with that for 10 plus years, literally, because, why not? And, the reality is, in my generation, at least, I'm 52, no one was looking for a solution. No, it was a proven theory that worked great, and so it was a really foreign concept. And it wasn't until I got my sleep apnea diagnosis there, it was really kind of okay, I kind of saw, my identity shifting into some old guy cliche. And again, I was kind of more a sales guy and stuff like that. So I really needed to have my energy and I needed to be congruent with that. And that was looking pretty sketchy. And I could feel that things just weren't on point. And so a buddy recommended Alcohol Lied to Me. It's a 4-hour Audible book. He's not a peer, but he's like a British dude, drank 2 bottles of wine. He just nailed it. So it's listen to it. I'm like, oh crap, I got to take a real break. Cause me and my buddies would cut back. We'd take a month off, but we didn't realize it at the time. The science is out now with Andrew Huberman's podcast, but yeah, obviously short breaks aren't going to move the needle when it comes to re-regulating these systems. And so I sacked up and took the break, found out that all my healthy habit protocols would work great. They were just done out of sequence. I just got so many epiphanies and so much, just everything got easier and better. I really felt like I found of youth and the key to happiness. And I was talking to my buddies that knew, love, and trusted me for decades. And I was wasn't telling them not to drink. I'm like, hey, check out this Audible book. It's 4 hours. It's pretty interesting. We love booze. We should kind of have a little bit of education on it. And I could not have that conversation. Guys are just no, I'm not doing that.
Wow.
I did
totally.
rope in a couple buddies and they did it and they got similar results. But that just bugged the living shit out of me, that my buddies, I couldn't convince them to do it. And I knew exactly where this was headed because I know the human body and I know how dudes roll. Like I said, if I was a subject matter and expert in anything, it'd be, drinking and, misadventuring with my buddies and health. And so I kind of knew exactly where this was headed. It was nowhere good. And so I realized someone was going to need to be the asshole to start talking about this in practical ways, or
so you took
really,
that role on.
really, really bad things. Yeah, I have plenty of asshole experience. So I'm like, all right, sure, I'll do it. And
Yeah.
it's been amazing. And yeah, sharing that gift and having these guys with similar experiences it's really cool. And like I said, there's such pent up need and demand for it. And so yeah, I'm super, super excited about the opportunities we have to kind of turn the lights on. And ultimately, it's not about pointing fingers or pushing sobriety. It's about your health. It's about performance. It's about what you want and how long you want to keep it. And if you want a lot, you better have good performance. If you want to keep it and enjoy it, you have to have your health. And so it's pretty simple stuff. And there's flexibility. There's nicotine gum, there's CBD, there's different ways to skin that cat, but it's not about trading in one vice for another. But alcohol is so pervasive, it's so socially acceptable, it's so great at dysregulating these key systems of health. There's just no way around it. You get smarter about it, or you get taxed heavily on a lot of things.
Yeah. Have you read This Naked Mind?
I have. Yeah. So that, I would, my cliff notes on that, no pun intended, is basically it's a female perspective. It's twice as long, and it's pretty much just similar, underpinnings. And not to talk trash on that, but alcohol lied to me 4 hours, and it's similar, compelling, and guys probably. And again, even alcohol lied to me. Like I said, it wasn't really on point for my peers, and so we've kind of created our own kind of spin off of that. But yeah, like I said, I think if performance and health is something you're serious about, you have to definitely experiment with that in more than just a cutting back fashion, to really kind of see what's going on with your body.
So many of the people I work with fall under this category of trading health for wealth, and I think that's exactly what you're describing here. Tell us a little bit about, you're saying this notion and that we're right in the middle of right now, dry January, right? In your experience with the people you work with, what is the minimum amount of time that, you guys say, hey, look, you got to at least give this so many months to see the real benefits?
Yeah. And we can, it's 3 months minimum. And I would say the typical dude that's looking for our services, it's 6 months. 6 months is ideal. And a year, the longer you go, the longer the runway, the more you learn, the more you earn. And that's ultimately what this is about. It's about stacking up so many gains and wins on the other side of your vacation that you're not going to want to give any of them up. And that's going to kind of like be your insurance policy. So it's just kind of stacking that scale so high. But yeah, definitely minimum 3 months. And it would, we can kind of thread the needle on our specific recommendations based off of the dude and how much he's been, it's very predictive how many drinks a guy's having on average per week and how long they've been drinking, and some of these other obvious signs around their sleep and their weight and other, healthy habits. And so we can kind of back in, but 3 months minimum. And it's really important to kind of have these longer runways because, and I'm maybe I'm being a jerk, but I'm really negative on dry January and stuff. Cause like I said, it's very defensive. You're coming off the holidays. You're sick and puffy and dull and you feel like crap and you're like, okay, I'm going to do dry January, and nothing's going on socially. You get no at-bats socially. You rip the Band-Aid off with, the physical and emotional dependence of alcohol, which is about 2 to 3 weeks. But other than that, your brain's frazzled, your systems of health are completely dysregulated. If you're actually doing dry January, I can tell you, you need 6 months because you're feeling the burn. So at least minimum. So, I always try to encourage longer breaks. And ultimately the reality is that the hardest part about taking the break is not the break, is about the deciding to take the break. And then it's the first couple weeks. So, you really like I said, the longer the runway, the more you have to kind of get out the other end and start getting chopping wood, right? Because first couple of
Yeah.
weeks are going to be a little bit of a wash, depending upon where you're at. And then you got to get your footing. There's some false, kind of finish lines. We're like, oh, I did a month. Okay, well, maybe I need to drink again. And so, there's this all that, the end of the day, our what's happened with regular alcohol use is it's really corrupted our operating system. And so you're gonna, if you listen to all the crazy things you say in your head, you're gonna talk yourself out of it every time. So that's why it's really important to have these healthy habit checklists. You're chopping wood, you're getting after it, you're doing things different, you're having new experiences, you're getting awkward, and you're just having new adventures and keeping it fresh and getting a lot of gains from it.
Yeah, because alcohol can really steal that from us, right? That's kind of what you're describing over time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tax and yeah, just your states, right? Like you're stressed.
Yeah.
And I think we had this offline, but kind of talking about, spirituality and stuff like that. It sounds kind of woo-woo,
Yeah.
but when you're regularly drinking, I can tell you how you're going to feel during your work week. You're going to feel like crap and you're going to be brain fog and you're going to be unproductive. And that's going to increase the stress level that you've already you've rewired your neural circuitry. So you already have the increased baseline stress. The weekend rolls around and you're going to be all about it. And so it conditions you to only value past and future. And so you're never in the present moment because you don't look and feel that good in the present moment. And then you get to the present moment on Friday night, 3 beers in, your prefrontal cortex is shutting down. So you're never present. You're never in the zone. You're never like in flow. And so you're always just moping around waiting for something to get better. So it's not a good way to roll.
We're all about the woo woo and the flow of Wild Health. So that's absolutely fine, man. You're using the right terminology. It's something that, and you kind of hit on it when I mentioned This Naked Mind. That was the thing when I listened to that book, I had the same reaction. I thought it made a lot of really good points, the subtleness in our culture, alcohol being like one of the only things that we have to explain why we don't use it if we're not using it, in a social setting. You don't ever hear people say, oh man, I don't really exercise. Like, well, why don't you exercise? You don't hear that as much. But tell us a little bit why specifically, again, one reason that book didn't resonate with me quite as much is because it was largely written from the female perspective. And while it made a lot of really good points, it sounds like your organization is really focused more on men and what they can do to enhance their lives. So tell me a little bit about that reasoning and how that developed.
Yeah, I mean, let's get real here. So, I'm staying in my lane. I'm not going to be, and again, I think probably about 35% of our signups are female. So I think they like my direct approach on just kind of health and wellness. I think women are, they're not as indoctrinated and playing dumb with their alcohol use. So did they get roped in with all this marketing stuff? Oh, hell yeah, they did. They're all about it. But do they have a little bit more, of a brain when it comes to just kind of connecting some baseline thoughts around their sleep and how they feel and their weight and things like that? Absolutely. But, I think the meat of the problem is with guys. And like I said, it's just so pervasive in this operating system of how you get ahead and how you enjoy it. And that's kind of been my sandbox my whole life. And it's really tricky when, you have to update your operating system when, something that works so well, something you enjoy so much. And so it's really problematic without kind of some insights there. So I think, we're going at the meat of the problem and guys don't talk about it in meaningful ways. They don't try it. They don't try approaches that are actually going to work, which are longer breaks.
Yeah.
They have no clue. They don't have the time and space to, geek down on their health like I have. And so they get disappointing results and they go back and they miss this opportunity and they don't realize what they passed up on. So we're, like I said, at the end of the day, there's a lot of blood in the water that I see and it's really scary and we're not cool with it. So we're going to bang a gong as loud as we can and try to save as many people as we can because this is super predictive. It's going out in a painful whimper. It's a lot of regrets. It's a lot of bullshit and drama that, they didn't technically sign up for. And it's super important to get this right. And if you don't, you're going to regret it.
Yeah. So tell me about the relationship that people have with alcohol after they've been through one of these booze vacations. What changes? What do you witness in the folks you've worked with?
Yeah. So what happens when you take these longer breaks is alcohol works really well when you're regularly drinking it because it's regularly dysregulating these systems. It's regularly putting you in these lowered states. And yeah, you're kind of unconsciously just over caffeinating, over sugaring, over drinking, maybe monkeying with other vices. And so, yeah, it really kind of just puts you in these negative states. And so when you rip that Band-Aid off and you get good at looking and feeling good and performing good and kind of getting in a better groove with your family and actually making all your workouts and all that, there again, we're not, telling you what to do after, but we do have a protocol to kind of reintroduce it. But yeah, what's going to happen after you've come off your vacation for 6 months is like first couple drinks, they're going to be pretty disappointing, right? Because you're not getting, probably 30-40% of the enjoyment of alcohol is just kind of, pausing that tape of drudgery that is created, and so you don't have that extra little chemical boost, dopamine hit. And, that first morning when like you wake up the first time and you're like, what the hell did I do? Just kind of that tax, one serving of alcohol is 9% less sleep. A standard cocktail or craft brew can easily have 2-3 servings in it. We're talking like 40%. So it just really crushes your sleep, and yeah, your head feels like crap. Your stomach is sour. So there's some neat epiphanies when you've basically reset your this program with alcohol, and so you have to like kind of monkey with it, and you have to like kind of figure out where those lines are. And like I said, I think it's absolutely fine to have a drink or two here or there if you want, once you've re-regulated your system, but you just kind of have to know what you're dealing with and know some of these rules and regulations around it. It's like, okay, do I want to dysregulate my sleep? Can I maybe do this a little bit earlier? But there's a lot of epiphanies that come when you have to like physically start turning on some of these negative loops of, okay, now my stomach hurts. Okay, now I'm craving sugar because, I didn't sleep well, and now my brain's frazzled and my metabolic health is off. And now I'm kind of in, why didn't I get off the couch on Saturday morning, when I was these last 4 weeks? And so it's just kind of, it's just a neat opportunity to kind of see, get good at enjoying life without it, because if you don't ever figure out that skill set, you're pretty stuck, and you're stuck in a bunch of things that are just really going to erode your quality of life. And again, ultimately our goal is, every dude we roll with has pre-disease symptoms, right? Like in their 30s, and then they start really gaining traction into your 40s. And so we want to reverse these pre-disease symptoms. We want to prevent, disease and injury. And like I said, you're talking about longevity. It's like you don't have muscle mass on the other side of 50, and slip and fall, and you're going to lose another 30-40% of it. It's already getting taxed on the other side of 50. You're pretty screwed. You're like, your quality of life is going to be crap. You're going to be on the couch. You're going to be kind of isolated. You're going to be, dealing with lots of painful prescriptions and, side effects and procedures. And so, you got to have to figure out what your definition of fun is. And so,
whether you're willing to pay that tax later on, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Tell me about, you mentioned an Aura ring, and we do use a lot of Auras and Whoops and different HRV and bio-tracking modalities with our own patients. Is that one of the more effective things that you guys try and introduce right off? Because alcohol obviously has maybe the worst effect of anything you can do for your HRV.
Yeah, and your sleep, which is the cornerstone of your health. And so, like I said, I think guys are really subjective about their sleep. Oh yeah, I sleep fine, but it's super neat. I've used the Aura. I haven't tried the Whoop, but I know there's other stuff out there. I think my nephew got something Humankind or something like that, some other ring thing that he said was pretty. I looked at it, looked pretty cool. But yeah, it's really cool just to kind of get these insights. And again, what we're doing is we are, changing these guys, kind of operating system, right? Like before it was just unconscious, do whatever I want, because I don't have a drinking problem and I'm in these negative states and I have plenty of cash. And so I can have this pizza at midnight and I can have this, whatever it is. It's just like they're treating, they're
Pizza.
$1 million racehorses and they're treating themselves like junkyard dogs, and then they're really surprised when, the shit hits the fan. And so, but yeah, no, Oura Ring is killer. You can really kind of start connecting the dots on, that big meal or that cocktail, what it did to my HRV or my resting heart rate or my REM or deep sleep. So yeah, we want to give these guys a good dashboard of what's going on with their body, and sleep's a really big one. And yeah, the tech is pretty neat to see that. And it was super helpful for me, anecdotally, personally, because I struggled with my sleep for decades because, like a lot of dudes, too much alcohol on the weekends, too much caffeine during the work week, too much processed food, and it really revs up your system. It really stresses your autonomic nervous system, really predictively, erodes your sleep quality and a lot of other metrics. And not fun when you're not, trying to live a high octane lifestyle and you're dragging asses. Not a lot. Not a lot of fun.
So tell me, you mentioned earlier in your own experience, this improved nature of work and personal relationships. Tell me a little bit about that. Do you guys have, folks that come back to you and say, wow, I didn't even realize that these things were an issue, maybe at home or in the workplace. And some of those benefits that you see, do you see a lot of that with your clients?
Yeah. And, we're fixing our health and we're just giving, the body and soul, like a little bit of time to just rest and recover, take a little time to reflect and maybe read some Eckhart Tolle or something like that. And just kind of figure out like, hey, we have this like caveman brain. Now we're in like 21st century and like shit's going mad and we have all this tech and all this social media. And, meanwhile we're trying to pretend like, a cave bear is chasing us or something like that. So just really kind of trying to reset and kind of feed and care for oneself and kind of just take and personal development, professional development. Just kind of like, shore up some of these areas because, unfortunately the playbook for men of success is, you just stack on more responsibility, more wear and tear and more damage. And, you're trying to have some me time and some fun time and get some trips in and some golfing in. And it's always like, dehydration, kind of horrible sleep. And it's like you get back from the vacation and you need another vacation, so it's really just kind of, feeding and caring and kind of reflecting. And like I said, like I look back at myself, I'm like, oh crap, all that time I spent on my health was pretty unproductive. I was probably at about 60%. Oh yeah. Like I was regularly like, unproductive and foggy, and I'd have like dread and I'd be super stressed and really up and down. And you just, like I said, I think, you just get used to it and you think it's normal, but it's not, like these guys are at 60%, get them to 100%. And that's the other piece of it. And that's why guys don't ever figure out alcohol, is because you're asking the wrong guy, right? If they're at 100%, they know how to make a decision, but they're not. And so they kind of, they struggle.
So part of this program is resetting that gauge and that sense of self, right? And realizing that there's 60%, which they've assumed is the best they can do is actually far under operating. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Kind of just baseline sense, right? Like, oh, now I give a shit about my health. Okay. What's my ApoB? What's my A1C? What's my constant glucose monitor telling me? Like, let me start like actually paying attention and caring. Am I getting enough protein in the morning? Like you're just playing it completely. It's kind of a game of Oppositville, really. It's kind of funny because, like I said, you wear yourself down, and this regular alcohol use, even at socially acceptable levels, really makes you play dumb with your health, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. So I think to think about, landing this plane, circling the wagons here, what if, obviously signing up for your program for Booze Vacation sounds like a wonderful way if someone's interested in and curious and seeing what effects being abstinent from alcohol will have in their life. What's one piece of advice you might give someone who is not able to sign up for your program for, whatever reason? What's something simple that you could pass along?
Yeah. it's not a dumb idea to do it, and but it's pretty dumb to do cut back or take a month off. So try to do at least 3 months. I would recommend, instead of taking 1 month off, do 1 month of looking at the resources, free resources on our website, and start educating yourself. And if that doesn't move the needle, you probably want to look at something else. But yeah, you guys can take a vacation for free on our website. They can sign up for, we have a really cool 2-minute quiz you could bust out, and kind of shows how it affects your quality of life and performance levels when it comes to your sleep and manliness and health. And then we also have a free training that they could check out. So we got a bunch of stuff on our website. But yeah, just
Fantastic.
kind of start kind of dinking and dunking and immersing yourself in that information, even though it'll feel kind of dirty and weird and like, what the hell am I doing? But it's pretty important. Like, it's about health and performance, and you can't have one without the other with regular alcohol use and age and wear and tear.
And it sounds like this book was Alcohol Lied to Me.
Yeah, that's on our website as well.
That's on your website as well.
That's part of our
great.
That's some other resources. The Andrew Huberman podcast, but we have a bunch of our own dog food. We have a really cool ebook, the Manifesto. We have a killer quiz. We have an outrageously cool sleep blog on just what a total shit show that is, and how important sleep is, and how especially for dudes that want testosterone and stuff like that. So we go pretty far down the rabbit hole there.
Yeah, I think too often in our society, and I see that with in medical care these days too, there's too much of an attitude of addition and not subtraction, right? Like, why take these 20 supplements when you could simply remove alcohol and have a more beneficial effect on your health, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. Well, man, it has been nothing but a pleasure today, my man, and I'm happy that we were able to connect on this. I have, sharing with you prior to this has been a personal decision I've made in my own life over the last 7 to 8 years, and can't even speak. I mean, it would be another hour-long podcast if I went through all the benefits that I've experienced during that time. And it sounds like you've had the same experience. So really inspirational to have you on here, Clifford. And tell us, as we're closing out here, where can people find you out in the world online?
Yeah, I have a pretty happening TikTok account, Booze Vacation, and just check out our website. Like I said, we have a cool you versus booze quiz, and we have a free training video and a bunch of free resources and quick win challenges you could do, and it's really well done. It's really kind of bro certified. We're not talking, we're talking shit, but we're not stepping on any toes or anything like that, but we're just keeping it real, and a lot of good testimonials on there. So it's really well done. Really excited with that. We've worked really hard on the messaging, a lot of good information. So check us out, boozevacation.com.
Yeah, I love it, man. Yeah, I love that approach where it's very approachable and not something that feels like you're getting a finger pointed at you. And, so appreciate that, man. Thanks for the good work you're doing in the world. I think it's an important message to get out. So I appreciate you being on here. I'm definitely going to use you as a resource with some of my own patients. So expect some new business. I was jotting down names as we were talking. Oh, and I should probably talk to this guy about that. And so we'll be sending him your way.
Awesome. Yeah, likewise. I'd like to talk with you offline about that as well, because we need some other health partners.
Yeah, for sure. And this is a message we're constantly trying to get out. All right, man. Well, thanks again for joining us. Clifford Stephan, founder of Booze Vacation, founder of a lot of things, but founder of Booze Vacation is what we've really focused on today. And thanks for the work you're doing in the world. Hopefully we'll get you back on the podcast at some point, and look forward to seeing all you listeners out there for the next Wild Health podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to the Wild Health Podcast. If you want more daily health education, be sure to follow us on Instagram, which is filled with health optimization how-tos, grocery shopping lists, guided breathwork posts, myth debunking, and so much more. You can find us at Wild Health MD on Instagram.